walk me through the states that really could determine this thing tonight.
Yeah, I think we know. We've talked about Florida, but I kind of want to build on this larger point here, because we know that I think, and just in this respect, if Clinton wins this election, she's going to win it because of this Southeast corridor. For what it's worth, very little actual vote is in. I'm keeping a huge eye, for instance, on Florida, because we're actually seeing more vote come in right now in Florida than anywhere else. But again, 2% in. So, and as you can see, it's all coming from essentially one semi-rural county.
Yeah, and right now, a lot of what we're dealing with is anecdotal conversation about what's been happening in these states. Let's go to Kerry Sanders now as we begin to sweep around some of these battleground states. Tell me, how much have you seen of the ground game that we hear so much about, this getting out the vote effort?
Hillary Clinton's teams have actually gone door to door and had people in cars bringing voters out to the polls, where on the Republican side, it's been a little bit more of people being self-motivated to come out. And I think it'll be very interesting, because Donald Trump made it very clear that he thought his supporters would just show up at the polls because he saw such huge crowds, and many of them, of course, showing up in this state. We'll see whether that translates into the votes that he thinks will result.
I want to bring in Nicole Wallace now, who joins our panel right now. I want you all to react to some of the numbers we're seeing coming in from Florida right now, keeping in mind all the polls have not closed there, but we're getting some raw numbers. What are you seeing in these as we put them up here, Chuck?
I'm seeing that, look, it's 40% already of the vote in. It's all early vote here, but here's what's not in. We only have about 5 or 6. We have no precincts in Broward County at all, barely anything out of Miami. What you're seeing now as you're watching this map, we've got Clinton up a point. What that is that's where the vote is currently coming in. If you see gray, if you see any gray there, it means we've had 0 vote in from there. All that is telling you is who's leading in that county. So as you see there, obviously it's the southeast corner that is about where all the population is, Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach. And as you see, no Broward. That's, if she wins Florida, she's going to win it down in South Florida. The fact that she has a lead right now in the raw vote before we have anything out of Broward County, you're going to have a lot of nervous Trump people right now and a lot of very, very excited Clinton.
Nicole, let me ask you, there was even Trump himself had said Florida was must win. But then down the stretch here, we saw, let's go to Michigan, looking for other paths and suggesting they might have them. Do they exist, or was this a head fake we've seen?
Well, so even some of Trump's closest advisors by mid-afternoon today were starting to talk about what if. What if Donald Trump hadn't engaged in a month-long battle against the Khan family? What if Donald Trump hadn't taken so long and really never properly apologized for the Access Hollywood? And the what if, the answer to the what if is, what if he'd focused instead on a strategy that remade the maps? What if they'd had a real campaign that could have targeted their voters and turned out their voters? Then it wouldn't be a lights-out moment for them if they come out short in Florida. You've called it the checkmate state, and I agree with that. And I think that what they will be talking about if they come up short is how they might have been able to remake the map so that states like Florida and North Carolina weren't do or die for them.
We're back now from our election center, and joining our panel is a guy who knows what it's like to help a Clinton win the White House, James Carville. Hey, James.
Hi. All right, yeah, we're a little nervous tonight, but, you know, feeling
well,
good.
Read into me. Where are the Clinton nerves right now? They're looking at the same data we're looking at.
I do know this, that the turnout in Broward, Fort Lauderdale, and Dade, Miami, city of Philadelphia are all eye-popping. Now, what I don't know is what the turnout is in Trump areas, but I do know the turnout in the Clinton areas. Johnson County, Iowa City is just like off the charts. Boulder, Colorado, the college towns. I think the story at the end of this night, if I guess, is going to be the Clinton ground game.
But she ran against somebody who had no ground game.
He had none.
Right.
I mean, they have, you know, hundreds of thousands of people. I think they said they had 3 million touches on Saturday alone.
The plot is about to thicken. 7.5 minutes until polls close in 16 states, plus the District of Columbia. We've got some big ones here. Florida, Pennsylvania on there. This is where my friend Chuck Todd begins to salivate now as he looks at his map. Tell me about what you're going to focus on.
Let me tell you this. It is Florida, Florida, Florida. Okay, the part that the polls are closing in, of course, is the central time zone area there. But I'll tell you this. Look, we have 71% in. Clinton's pulled a lead in statewide. Here is your swing county of Florida. As Hillsborough goes, this is in Tampa. As Hillsborough goes, so goes the state of Florida. She's got a 10-point lead here, as you can see. Still a lot of vote to come in Hillsborough, but this is a good sign for her. Let me just quickly show you the spread in Miami-Dade. 30-point spread. This is where we were watching to see if there's an Hispanic surge for her. It certainly looks like it so far, but this is just early vote. We don't know what Election Day voting is going.
If this goes to Clinton, then a lot of eyes are going to lock on Pennsylvania.
It becomes he's got to win Pennsylvania
and, that's in the next half hour, too.
Michigan. If he loses Florida, he needs Pennsylvania and Michigan. He can't just get away with winning one of them.
This all comes back now to that same area of the country you're talking about as we move up from Florida.
This has become her power center. It really, it could be interesting, but it absolutely could. The fact that Virginia, Florida, and you heard it, I was talking to Robbie Mook earlier today, and he brought up Florida, Virginia, Pennsylvania. He said that's their backbone to 270, and they think they're going to win all three, and they think once they do, it's checkmate. We were just both sitting there, what's out in Florida, 91% in. I think Trump's leading by about 60,000 votes. And we're both noting, like, why is the Clinton campaign feeling good and the Trump campaigning not so good? It's because of what's remaining, what's out. Right. We were just looking. I mean, Gainesville still hasn't come in. That's a college town. You still got a lot, almost half of the Broward vote hasn't come in.
Palm Beach.
Half of Palm Beach and still about 15% of Miami-Dade. And as we showed you, she's winning Miami-Dade by numbers that are landslide-like for Miami-Dade.
Where are the remaining votes going to come from?
Well, I'm looking here. Right now, there is still, if you're the Clinton people, you're very happy about Broward County. There still appears, right now, this is only early vote that essentially was dumped in. We expect about another 400,000 out of there. If she wins that by 40 points the way she's winning it here, I don't know if that quite makes up the gap. We know there is some Miami-Dade vote, not a lot. Most of this is in. Let me take you to the Hillsborough here. As you see, this is tightened up. Now it's Clinton +6. Obama won this by a little bit more when he won it by a point. So this is something here to keep an eye on. So look, there's a chunk of vote down here in South Florida. That's good news for her. But there's sporadic vote in a lot of Trump country as well. So look, we're sitting here, it is so, you can't sit here and say for sure, look, it's about 100 and looks like 35,000 difference right there. I think she can get 100 of it out of South Florida. Can she find another 36,000 somewhere else? We'll see.
All right, let's go to Hallie Jackson now. Hallie?
Hey, Lester, I'm joined here by filmmaker Michael Moore, who has spent months really diving into the mind of the Trump voter. You are a Hillary Clinton supporter, but you have predicted what we are seeing with Donald Trump, particularly in Michigan, for months.
Well, back in the summer, I wrote an essay called The Brexit States,
right.
Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, that the working class that has been so abused and attacked and their livelihood taken from them over these last really couple decades. They're at the point where they're so angry and full of so much despair that I could see that they were going to use the ballot box as an anger management exercise.
You've called it a middle finger to the establishment.
Yes, or Trump being their human Molotov cocktail that they just get to throw into the system today and blow it up, only to find out a month or two from now how regretful they're going to be, because he's not only going to blow up the system, he has no idea how to rebuild it. I mean, this has been my fear. I've been trying to tell people we have to put special focus on Michigan, on Ohio, and Pennsylvania. These are the people I grew up with. I know what's going on here. They're being manipulated by a con artist. That's what Donald Trump is. He has not told them the truth. He's not going to bring their jobs back, and he's a dying dinosaur. His way of doing things, and that's the old America. We're into the future right now.
Race to 270. Mike, I cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What's interesting about Florida is the pattern is unlike anything I've seen in Florida politics before. You get a more urban Republican area like Jacksonville, Duval County. Trump's doing horribly. He's doing under Romney in the bigger Tampa counties. But you go north of Tampa to the exurbs, he's off the charts. He is breaking the meter, like numbers we haven't seen before. And that's moving the whole state to a point where, well, I believe it'll tighten. There's more of her vote out than his. Yeah, I don't think she's will be able to make it.
So far, he hasn't won anything that we didn't anticipate. But you, Chuck, you're punching the numbers in Florida. You think?
Look, there's just not enough. I just, maybe there's some extra vote that we don't know about. And again, I stress that happens. And I remember vividly in 2000 the 50,000 vote error that was discovered late. So, don't forget those things happen here. But you look, and there's trickles that are left. Almost every county is reported. What's out is there's only one county that's out that's more favorable to Trump. Polk has a little bit. But Volusia, which is Daytona, essentially, and that's basically a 50-50 county. There's a lot of Volusia out. but that's not enough for her to gain ground. It's Palm Beach, Miami, and Broward.
Right.
Is there enough vote out there left in those bottom 3 counties for her to close this gap? But I have to tell you, the gap grew again. She got it down to 111,000, and then it's back up to 130. So I don't see the path forward for her in Florida. And so now, listen to this. Last time a Democrat won the White House without the state of Florida was Bill Clinton, 1992.
Why have you at the map? Can you show us where Florida is? We haven't
checked in on Florida a little bit. Let's go ahead and go to it here. Vote keeps coming in. She hasn't really narrowed the gap very well. It's just not there. Unless there's magic boxes of ballot boxes somewhere that we don't know about. I can keep telling you, there is, the remaining vote is basically here in Palm Beach, Broward, Miami, and I think there's one precinct in Monroe that's left. But by the way, I was talking to a Florida expert of mine about how has Trump done this. And it's essentially these Tampa ex-urban counties, okay, both north and south, in the Tampa market. He just blew through every single vote total estimate that Democrats had, and frankly, even Republicans. Just blew through. Look, she did her job in Hillsborough. Normally, how Hillsborough goes, you could say it was the most important swing county in the country over the last 16 years. But this is not enough. She's going to win Hillsborough and lose the state. That doesn't happen very often, but that's the story of what's happened in rural America.
By the way, everybody talking about how Trump didn't have much of a get-out-the-vote operation. But
didn't need it.
Apparently not, that he relied so heavily on the Republican Party, and there was already grousing from some inside states about there not being sufficient get-out-the-vote. Well, the vote got out.
It is 11:30 in the East, and as we look at Democracy Plaza, NBC News projecting that Donald Trump is the apparent winner in Florida. Donald Trump, the apparent winner in Florida. It's a state that he called a must-win, and he appears to be winning it. 29 electoral votes. Let's show you the vote count right now as it stands. 49% Trump, 48% Clinton. That's the current vote count, 96% of the vote in Florida. Let's go right now. By the way, this is the view at Clinton headquarters, obviously reacting to that news in Florida. Long faces at this viewing party here. This is Clinton headquarters in New York. Not far from where the Trump folks are gathered right now. Let's go to Andrea Mitchell. She is there. Andrea?
Well, you're showing the faces, the stunning information as it's been progressing here of Donald Trump winning Iowa, which was pretty much anticipated, and Florida. But this is such a narrow path. And for all this time, we've been talking about the multiple paths that she had and the narrow path that he had, and clearly that was a misjudgment by all of the conventional wisdom. So pollsters missed it, correspondents missed it, all of the analysis. The focus on the early vote, which was clearly misplaced because we were attributing too much weight to the early vote and not counting what was still out there.
Andrea Mitchell at the Clinton headquarters, where there has been a sharp reaction to that news that Florida has gone to Donald Trump.